Greetings. Okay. So I'm in a peaceful, restorative energy today. And I feel like there's a message in that of not being afraid to rest deeply. Every time I open my tablet, it's like, if you have the tablet where you use, like your fingerprint to open the tablet, right? And I keep seeing rest to open. And every time I see it, it feels like the Most High is talking to me. Rest to open, rest to open. And like this need to rest deeply, like maybe deeper than you think you might need, even. And I think that there's also a reality of patience that comes with that. Patience with yourself, patience with just like the reality of how much time things really take, and that even though you're maybe in this go energy, notice where you can apply that to, and then notice where it's not helpful to apply that mindset of go, right? And it can also be you're so irritated with certain situations and certain people and certain repetitive things that you're applying that energy that you feel towards everything in your life, right? Like it's like, I cannot put up with this shit anymore, so I need to go. But what if the rest is going to help you open up your options, right? That's just kind of what came through right now, because I don't know, I personally relate, but I feel like I just keep seeing that rest to open, and this feeling of like this tense energy isn't gonna help you flow into your future, And I've been getting these downloads that I have in my little notebook grab book. Has to do with that a little bit, of time, the idea of time. And then I also keep seeing these little videos, whatever, just like YouTube videos, and on the thumbnail, flow of time. So it really is like there's this stretching of time, and like this need to allow yourself to feel that time and like not push it anymore. Like don't Capricorn it, don't like boulder through it. Find a way to, I don't know, rest into it, and just like it takes acceptance, and it's that Seven of Pentacles energy of like it's just the seasons turning, that kind of energy. So apply that movement though where you can, but don't worry about like, it's just like a whole perception change even, how are you perceiving time? How are you perceiving your life? And I know it's like people talk about that all the time of like, oh, I know, right? Like we hear these things. It's being the present. But really, like, how is your mind thinking of the present moment actually? Like if you think about it detailed of your own mind and how you think about things, how you start your day even. Like I got up really early this morning, but then even though I was up early, I was still rushing. It's a Saturday today. Like I was still rushing, even though it was early and I had lots of time. And I'm like, okay, I want to go do this before this time. I'm trying to beat the traffic here. And what I mean by the traffic is just like that morning Saturday when everyone's out doing whatever they have to do in the morning, right? I'm like, I don't want to be with that. It's 7, so I'm going to just get out early 7. And I already feel myself starting to panic, get anxious. It's like, why are you doing that? So I feel like there's a message. The Most High is like, can everyone You're at a 10, I need you at a 2. Like, you're here, can we all bring it here? Because you're stressing yourself out. Like, I just kind of realized how it's like, why rip and run when you're not even going nowhere? Just for me to come back and do this. Like, it's crazy. So that's my first little message. Like, allow yourself real restorative time. Let me tell y'all this right quick. Get you some spearmint oil, okay? Get some spearmint, look, for uplifting. Get yourself some spearmint oil. It smells so good, so like sweet and fresh. And I'll tell y'all something about me. I love mints, but like eating them, right? Peppermints, like an old lady, like Ricolas, whatever. I just love them. I love them. I like have for a while. That can also be a sign. I'll say that, but for me, I just like mint, right? But when you smell that spearmint oil, it gives you that feeling of like, it reminds me of those green spearmint peppermints, but it was like without eating them. So good. And it's for uplifting. And then I also, eucalyptus is good too for clearing out the it's good for your lungs and like getting more air into your lungs. So try those two. And they're like pretty decently cheap on the realm of essential oils. Like the spearmint was $6-7 compared to like if you're getting frankincense, it's like 25. Like it can get up there, but it's like it's worth it. It will uplift you. Like, don't think it won't. It will uplift you. So, okay. So, because I'm taking the advice of the Most High to slow down and rest to open, I gathered some messages that I got over the week, right? So over the past week, these are some of the messages that I got as I was resting, watching stuff, going back and forth. You know what I mean? So this, I'm just kind of learning, getting comfortable with my channeling style and how I want to, put up messages on this channel. But the energy that I'm picking up is very Aquarius, which is funny because or either last night, what is even the date today? I don't even know the date today, y'all. But on the day that I'm uploading it, either it's that night or it was last night that we had the Aquarius supermoon, new moon. So this energy that I'm picking up is very Aquarius of like futuristic. And I've been on that for the last week. So I got a message about quantum physics. And quantum physics, I guess, I can't even tell you that I fully understand everything about it, right? But I wrote down what it is, like let me just tell you what I wrote. Quantum physics takes into account every possible outcome of measurement of physical properties. And then beneath that, I wrote the probability theory. And this was in the definition on Google. Random chance. So I'm feeling like it's like takes into account every possible outcome of the measurement of physical properties. So I think what it is like, what random chance, like it's like the things that we imagine would not happen are more likely now to happen. Like it's like the way that, then I also got something about like the scattering and flow of electrons. it's getting scientific, y'all. And I'm like, ooh, okay. But like, as people are meditating, resting, getting deeper in touch with themselves, right? That affects the way that your body works, which is going to affect the brain, right? And I saw this even in a commercial for some kind of like spiritual gaia.com, where they do those documentaries about these kind of things. And the man was talking about that, of like how as people are learning their spiritual gifts and upgrading them and getting deeper into them, it's changing the way our brains are working and expanding, right? And so we are having the power to bring things into existence that are beyond our perception of like what we could before, right? So that makes me think of aliens. That makes me think of, you know, just very futuristic, like fifth dimension kind of things, where we're really going to be actually seeing things expand in ways that we would have never imagined before. I I also got a message that like the aliens are gonna come down unpredictably, but then secretively. And the cards I got was the Judgment card, then the Knight of Swords in reverse, and then the Four of Pentacles in reverse. So this idea of like them coming here when we least expect it, but then like still us really fully not knowing that they're here. And I just think that's an interesting, like that was interesting to me. So, you know, what do y'all think about that? I'm just saying, like, what do you think about the idea of aliens being here and like taking, what are they doing here, right? I believe that they're here really to help, but I don't think that that means like right at 222. So yes, they're here to help, but what side of the spectrum are you on is the question. Because if you're wicked, they're not helping you. That I feel, that I really feel. But I feel like if you're on the good side of things, you know, as good as decent as a person can be, right? Like, no one's perfect, but it's like if you're out here wicked as hell, the aliens are coming down for you. So you need, I'm just saying, pull it together. You know what I mean? For all the karmics, extremely karmic, reel it in, because you just never know. But how I was saying, right? Like also fifth dimension. It's almost even like they've been here, but because of our perception that we can't fully see all the dimensions yet. They've just been around and we're not in there yet, right? But for those of us who are like getting into our spirituality or like in our developing our gifts, you might already feel like you've been seeing them, seeing I've been telling y'all how I've been seeing like faces, right? Like little faces in the wall, basically everywhere. Anywhere I look, if I look long enough, I see a face. Just like a face, very Disney-esque, if you will. I'm thinking not like things are moving or dancing or anything, but it is that. And I'd love to hear if anyone, you know, has that too, where they're seeing that, right? And it's like, it's just good to check, you know. I'd love to hear from other people who are experiencing that, because that's a thing. And I feel like that's a little dip, a little dive, right, into the fifth dimension. So if that's just a little bit that we can see, imagine when the whole veil comes, what are we going to be seeing? Things could be moving, shaking, we don't know, right? So it's interesting, and I feel like it all has to do with the power of our own brains and like how how our blood is flowing, how the electrons are connecting to the brain, I suppose. That's what I wrote down. And just like the way that we use our brains, right, is expanding. So it's going to change how we manifest and the things that we bring into the world. So, yeah. And it's funny, I might even put it on the thumbnail when I show y'all my incense, right? Like how the shapes of them tell me different things. I was eating walnuts. What are walnuts for? They're good brain food. And my incense, when they ended, the ashes fell in the shape of a walnut right next to a walnut that just like fell out of my hand and fell on the table. And I got a picture. I might use it as a thumbnail, I might not, but it's the brain. Something about the brain is really like expanding and changing, and I just think it's hella cool. It's cool. And so I don't know, I might even pull some cards on what that will look like for us after I get through the rest of these messages. Maybe I'll just do it now. I'm trying to see what will it look like, Most High, as our brains expand. And like for me, look, adjustments are required. Your commitment is not being tested. So this could even have to do with rest to open. Your commitment is being tested in reverse. Almost as if all this work that we've been forced to do all this time was to stop us from getting to this point, because once we rest is when we're able to actually upgrade. That's what I think. Like, as we choose rest instead, it gives us the space to open up our minds, right? Look, okay. Adjustments are required still, and then a new start is coming in reverse. And then when I flipped it, you are good enough in reverse. And that made me think like, the words that you speak, you know, what you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself, also it will probably affect more than ever how your life looks. You know, like it's like we have more power now to manifest what we want to bring into this world. So the words that you say about yourself, right? Like, even, I don't know, I noticed like I'll call myself a bitch sometimes, like, come on bitch, get it together, or like, you know, just saying stuff to myself. And like, even that, when you get into the habit of continuously saying these things about yourself, or oh, my dumb ass couldn't go and do this, or like, oh, and like, you know, sometimes you're just kidding, you're playing around, but also those things stick with you. And then next thing you know what I'm saying, you're manifesting that kind of low vibrational energy into your life. So positive affirmations are good, you know, it is good. Like, and it can be annoying, you know, like, I am full of love, or like but it's like whatever you need for your affirmations. It's what you need. Like, don't just do whatever generic one. What do you need in your life? Right? Do you need to love yourself? Do loving affirmations, you know? What is it that you don't love about yourself? Repeat that you love what you don't love about yourself. issues with self-worth, you know, same thing. What is it that you don't think you deserve? Then say, I deserve this, right? Okay, so what is it gonna, just give me a little bit of tea of what it's gonna look like. And I've also been wondering how long, you know, how long are we talking? Like, will I see it fully in this lifetime? Is it for the next generation, like my grandchildren's generation or their grandchildren's generation, you know? Believe in the impossible. See what I'm saying? It's like the answers you need are coming in reverse. So that's what I'm saying. It's like we may not have the answers for these kind of things that we're likely to experience. Like, just to see that, believe in the impossible. Like, and that could mean so many different things, right? Like, just whatever you the last thing, see, and it's like, that's the thing, the last thing that you would expect or the last thing that you will want. That's why we have to make sure that our brains are in a good, like, don't be thinking of the worst case scenario, because then that's what you're manifesting, the worst case scenario. And like, because these changes, it's, and I guess it's like a maybe more of a slow trickle, right? Like, don't think like, oh, tomorrow we're all gonna just manifest our worst fears because we've been like, no, I feel like it takes a long time, or like it's a continuous slow trickle of life's upgrading. But I'm just like, we have more power than maybe we did 50 years ago, right? To manifest certain things and bring new ideas into existence. I feel like that's, look, the answers that you need are whatever in reverse, which is making me just feel like the Most High is like, don't even worry about it. Just believe the impossible. Believe in the impossible. So that's, I'm going to leave that there. I'm not even going to dive it deeper into that. But it's cool though. It's cool. It's cool to me. Okay. What else do I want to, okay. And then so I wrote down quantum definition. So quantum means a discrete quantity of energy proportional in magnitude to the frequency of radiation it represents. I'm gonna say it one more time. Quantum means a discrete quantity of energy proportional in magnitude to the frequency of the radiation it represents. So that makes me think of an atom, right? Like the idea, if you could split an atom, it would like create this huge atomic explosion. And that kind of makes me think a message of things are getting a little bit easier for us, right? Like the manifestation process is a little bit more like, I don't know if I even want to say seamless as much as I want to say just like it's going to take less energy for us to bring these things in, whether they be good, whether they be, you know, desirable or not desirable. yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting from that. Discrete quantity of energy, like just less energy for more effect. Excuse me. Yeah, and like also magnitude. I'm picking that up of like the magnitude, right? Like I don't know, for when you're in your light energy, like maybe it's gonna show differently than what we're used to, right? Or if you're in your dark energy, like it's gonna show. Because I was saying this in another video of how I feel like people's internal energy is now showing on the outside, right? Like people maybe even no matter what energy it may be that you harness, right? It kind of it may just show even in the way you decide to dress yourself, which is normal and how it's always been. But it feels like even more kind of futuristic than that. And that's what always makes me think of like, this kind of fantasy. It's like fantasy energy, which I feel like is kind of Aquarius in a way, right? Like just this like higher mind thinking. But I'm thinking of like how villains in movies look like villains, right? Like it shows. And same thing for like the good character, it shows. But when I mean maybe a little bit more subtly than that, but still like kind of like all I can think of literally is like certain anime characters that they have like their unique look that fits their personality and also the powers that they have. And then I just saw in my mind, what's that show? Xena the what is it? Or like Z something with a Z or an X, and she's like from outer space. I can't even remember, but I'm just saying I feel like we may start to embody like our DNA in a different way, where it's like, oh, like we can see people's unique existence based off of like it's showing on the outside. That's all. That's really what I can say. That's what I'm saying. I hope that that's making sense. Mm, 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 mm. And so then I got the same time stops for no mouse. Then below that, I was looking through my bookshelf and I saw Charlie Bone and the Time Twister. Charlie Bone and the Time Twister, which is like a book, an adolescent book, and then Time Stops for No Mouse. So that's what made me think about the whole rest to open thing of like, when I think mouse, I think Virgo energy. Very analytical, very specific, very problem solving oriented, right? Where it can get so intense that you're just like just trying to fix as many problems just that arise even when they're not really a threat at the moment, but you're just solving. And like this idea of trying to do the opposite of that and kind of rest into the Piscean energy of fluidity. So time stops for no mouse. And that also makes me think the things that you focus on will be the things that amplify. Like even that, so if you're focused, whatever it is that's worrying you, if you're focused on that and only focused on that, that can amplify literally. And that even goes into, health, worrying about like one specific part of your health continuously, and you're sending almost worried energy is negative energy, right? You're worried about it, you're stressed about it, you're like just worried. It's like you're sending energy to that issue even more, and so time stops for no mouse. Like Time is flowing either way, but how you decide to focus your energy, it matters right now. I heard in my head more than ever. So, more than ever. Yeah. Okay, and then I got 360 completion. And I wrote down some things are just complete, over, done so. So I feel like maybe there's a cycle that's come to a close. Something that's just kind of like, it's over. Like just something in your life that is complete, a cycle that is completed. And it could be something you're used to doing, something maybe like a dream that you had that doesn't really fit you anymore, or something that you were just sure of that kind of crumbled, and now it's like you kind of have to try and reimagine, right? And I was looking at these cards when I was shuffling. I'm trying to see if I can find it. That just made me think of something else. Let me put those down. Look, I lost my train of thought. But you know something that also interests me though? Let me know if y'all, any of like my other people who read or do spiritual work, having a fear that like they want to do what they've done in the past of like taking the spiritual folk and like just making sure that this kind of knowledge doesn't get out anymore. I don't know if that's just a fear that I have, or that that's definitely something that people want to put into action. But I just feel like any time where there's this big expansion, there's gonna be an energy that doesn't want you to expand, right? And I feel like we see that in our day to day, but then even on a wider scale, you know, I just feel like that's something. Even the way, did y'all just hear the way I said, you know, like the way that even came out of my mouth? I don't know. It just makes me wonder. I don't know. I feel like it's a fear, like a personal fear that I have. And I feel like I'm an old soul. Like I've been here a few times, and that I went through that of like, I don't know, the Puritan age or whatever, of just like people trying to take the spiritualists and like, I don't know, make a mockery, try and get rid of us. And it's kind of like, and then that's when the aliens are gonna come down. That's what I think. Like, that's when they're gonna pop on down. Like you thought, no, we're upgrading. The world's upgrading and you cannot control it. You don't control. You're not God. You can't control us. Like that's the energy that I'm getting. But I have felt that fear, that like nervousness of that. I don't know. But I feel like life's too short to let it stop you also, right? Right? Like it's kind of like life is much too short to let it stop you, although that may be something that some people want or whatever, but it's just kind of like, okay, like we all want things, but it's like you can't, I don't know. It's just like, even though it's a fear that I have, I'm not about to let it stop me, right? So don't let it stop you. If you feel that or have been kind of foreseeing that in a weird way. And honestly, I mean, it makes me think of YouTube. I'll be completely transparent. The way YouTube shadow bans certain people who talk about these things, right? As they start to grow their following. You know. But it makes me wonder, it's like, okay, so you want to do that, but then the world's upgrading anyways. So what's it gonna look like for all of us to have these powers already that are already in motion and already in use, and then you're trying to block them or act like they don't belong? You know what I mean? Like, how are you gonna do that? How are we gonna be experiencing these weird things and like these supernatural experiences, all while everyone's trying to say on a wide scale that no, 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 that's not happening, that we can't do that? Like, you see what I'm saying? It's making me think of like bust the door down energy, like people busting down your door, like hella people coming in, and then it's like, no, we're not, no, that's not happening. But it's like so overwhelming and clear that it's happening. You know what I mean? But they're still trying to stop it, like that, or like trying to stop like water in a dam or whatever. Like that kind of energy. Like there's no water, like no. And then it's like all flooding in. It's like it doesn't really make sense to me. I don't know. So that's just something I was thinking about too. Like it's kind of like you can't fight it. You can't fight it. And even as hard as they fought it before, it's just the natural flow. It's the natural flow of life. And so I'm also picking up that whatever that cycle that closed, that there may still be a part of your ego attached to that ending cycle, which is not easy, right? Like when you put all of yourself into something or an idea of something, and then it's kind of like it's just, oh, it's complete, right? Because I've been hearing the song by Dionne Warwick, Walk On By, right? Foolish pride, da 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 da. Walk on by. If you see me walking down the street and I start to cry each time we meet, walk on by. But then I'm hearing foolish pride. So it's like almost like there's something that maybe, I don't know, it's like it's ending either way, or like it's something, it's just like a full, something is fully done behind you. And I'm picking up it could be a good thing though too. It feels like how you look at it, but that also it's a good thing. And that you and that's that rest to open energy of letting the new come in. Rest to open the new part of your life. But I'm already feeling this fight energy of like, no, like we're not ready to give it up. You know what I mean? Like I'm feeling that strongly. But that like it's done. It's done, you know? And this might not, I don't know. It may not be for everyone that watches this of like, yeah, you're just gonna have to let something go, but like if you feel it already, right? I'm just confirming things for you, maybe that you've already been feeling, that something like needs to be completed and like accepted as complete. I think that's what accepted as a completion, like just accepting that that's done and not trying to like pull back little pieces of it to salvage it. Like it's actually done and it's actually okay, and it doesn't really matter like who still thinks that it should still be going, like who's going against God, trying to hold on tight as it's dragging them through the mud, right? Because there's always that energy of someone just holding on as it's trying to shake you off, like no, you have to let it go. So whatever that symbolizes for you. Something is complete, and it's feeling like there's a pride aspect to it for sure. So yeah. Then free people, the phrase free people, which takes me back again to rest, to open. Seeing yourself as a free person, like not tied down to the things you were used to being tied down to before, or that same, that like these same cycles, right, that you're used to. Being free from that. Even when I think free people, right, like I really like the store Free People, and I feel like their clothes, the purpose, the branding of it is to give you that feeling of like, yeah, you know, like I'm a free person, and I just like to wear, you know, whatever makes me feel whatever, like I'm a free person, and like, but and that's just clothes, that's their branding. But then I feel like it's a deeper than that, like on a spiritual level of seeing yourself literally as a free person, and that you can do things differently actually, and that you don't have to be tied down to these things. You don't have to be tied down to these people, these ways of being that you're used to being, your identity, even if it's expanding. Um, or even the idea of finding an identity, right? Like sometimes we get so attached to our identity and the idea that we have to have one, and that we have to know exactly who we are, and that it's our stamp of existence. My identity is this, and this is how you better know me. But like, what if that's not even who you are anymore? Like, what if that's who you were, and now you're someone completely different, but you're holding on to that old identity? Like, this is that thing of free people, you know, being a free person and allowing yourself to really feel that and act accordingly. And if that means just fucking taking a nap, take that nap. If that means you going and drinking boba and then just walking around, do that shit. You know, if that means going to the park, if that means going to the beach, do that. If that just means getting up early, getting in the car and just driving around, do that. Like, it's that kind of energy, free people, right? And what that means for you. What does that really mean for you? And for you, right? Like, not even that it has to be about anybody else and what anybody else is doing. Like, not like, oh, okay, I want to get up tomorrow morning and just go drive. Let me see if all three of my friends want to go. Okay, she can't do it till 9. She can't go till 12. No, like free as like spontaneous. Like just me. I'm hopping in the car today. Just me. I don't care if anyone knows. Like I don't care if I document it. Just me. I'm just going. You know, that kind of energy, like act like giving yourself the spontaneity of like not needing anyone to do it with you, not needing anyone to understand why you're doing it. Just something for you, freedom for you. Wherever you feel like you're tied up at, that may be where you need to give a little freedom. Yeah. Let me see. Okay, so this is probably the last thing I'll talk about. The way I have it all set up with the tablet, it's like it takes a long time to upload these, so I'm trying to not go over an hour until I can go live one of these years, right? Like whatever. It's just with the tablet. But so I was watching this show, and I highly recommend this show, Random Acts of Flyness on HBO. Just watch it. Like I love this show so damn much. But there is a part of it where they're talking about the archetype of the pirate and the king. And this stuck with me because it's like the way that he described it made sense to me. The idea is like a king, the archetype of the king is like the person that guides the people, right? Is really well revered. Hold on. I'm about to just get a couple of spearmint drops right quick. And then I'm going to tell you. It's just, I like, sometimes you just need that re-up. I feel like I've just been talking and talking. I'm telling you, get the spearmint. Like, it's just good. I just recommend it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. So the pirate and the king, right? You see how it gives you like a natural high, a natural life uplifting high. Spearmint. So what was I saying? The pirate and the king. So the difference, it's kind of like this. He said every pirate has a king, every king has a pirate. That is kind of like this known duo. And he used examples, Beyonce and Solange, Beyonce being the king, Solange being the pirate. He used Jay-Z and Kanye West, Jay-Z being the king, Kanye West being the pirate. And basically just that like the king is well revered to the people, and kind of like their work reaches the masses, the people, right? And they kind of stay ruled from their castle. Whereas the pirate goes kind of back and forth, travels many different lands, picks up a lot of different ideas from realms beyond maybe what the masses can understand. And not even necessarily brings it to the king sometimes, but just that the pirate's purpose is a little bit different than the king's purpose, right? And that when they work together, the pirate can sometimes get the short end of the deal because the pirate is seen as just kind of like not fully understood, right? It makes me think of Jack Sparrow, Pirates of the Caribbean, of like how he slurs his words, he's kind of out there, like to the regular eye you'd be like, that's a weird strange man, is he good, right? But like that's the way that he explores, right? Like that's who he is. And that also something about the water element, right? Pulling from the emotional realm and like picking up things emotionally from the vast seas, which also makes me think of Pisces energy, the imagination, right? Whereas the king has this kind of like an image to uphold for the people that maybe even makes him a little rigid in some cases, of like, this is just what's expected of me, I'm here to help the people. And then right, in some cases the king may see the imagination of the pirate and take a little bit of it and bring it back to the people, right? But the pirate may not get the well revered appreciation that the king will get, right? And you know, Terrence Nance, who is the writer of Random Acts of Flyness, like said he's a pirate, and that he's gone through that experience of kind of like being taken from, and but then still misunderstood and not appreciated at the same time, right? And so it just, like, as a creative person, it really made me think of that, of like, oh, that's an interesting way to put it, right? Of kind of like, what is your archetype, right? And like, sure, there's many other archetypes that we embody on a day to day, but that one made sense to me, which is kind of like, some of us are pulling from more of a spiritual realm, more of an emotional, kind of out there, vast way of thinking, and we bring things in that way. Whereas some of us maybe are more kingly, in a way of like, liked, just liked by the masses, right? Liked and understood by the masses, and seen as a leader by the masses. And so it just interested me. It interested me, and it made me think. It just really made me think a little bit, you know? It really made me think. And that also in the media, I think, and even just pop culture, like, the kings get the masses appreciation, when often it's the pirates who have done a lot of traveling and searching that are kind of putting these ideas out there originally. And not to say that the king isn't also developing their own way of thinking about things. And I feel like that's also like the duo between the two, that they do work together in an interesting way. But that, there's this like, kind of back and forth with that, of like, well, who came up with what, and like, is it because the way that you communicate things, or the way that you do things, people understand you more, right? And like, the pirate maybe isn't trying to make sure everybody understands. They're more so just stretching themselves, like, experiencing, and like, bringing back what they realize, right? But then the pirate is going to all these different places, on the rocky ships all the time, do you get what I'm saying? So I just think that it was so interesting when I saw that, because I just I don't know, I've experienced the feeling without being able to put it into words like that. And so I just thought that was cool, the way he described that. It's something to think about. It's really something to think about, especially if you're an artist, of just like, what archetype am I really? Where do I stand? Where do I want to stand? And he was also saying how there was times in his life where he saw himself as a king, and it actually limited him from reaching his actual potential, because, and it was just him like sitting alone with like a small crown on his head, and like, almost, because it's like, that's not really who he is or how he identified himself, right? But like, him wanting to be this king, when really, like, he's different than that, right? Like, he's more of the pirate energy. So I just thought that was really dope. Like, I just love that show. Watch it. It's on HBO. Highly recommend it. I think it's only 2 seasons, and I think that's it. I think it's done now. There's no more seasons. But it's really good. It's really, really good. And it puts you into the pirate energy. Like, if you sage energy, of just like the realms blending together, like, that's kind of how that show makes me think. Like, it's like layers and layers and realms all connected, and just, it's interesting. I just highly recommend it. If you're a pirate, you probably already watched that show. So I don't know. um and then on the flip, Like, are you a king that thinks that you're a pirate, right? Like, it could go either way. And I'm trying to think, like, what does that look like on the other side, right? And like, do we choose for ourselves, or is it kind of just naturally like the archetype that we naturally embody? I don't know. But I think there's something to think about with that too. Like, what would it look like? You think you're a pirate, but really you're a king, and like you're out there on the water. Maybe it's causing you more distress than you really want. And you're like, I just miss my castle, or like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Not, I'm metaphorically, I mean that, but I guess it's just it's discovery. It's about the discovery of it. It's about the discovery. So yeah. And then with that, outside my window, about a week ago, there was a black cat and an orange cat facing off for about an hour and a half. They were out there, to the point, I have a cat, so I thought it was my cat out there. So I'm like, oh, let me go get her. Like, she might not be safe. And then I peek around the corner, and it's an orange cat and a black cat just head to head like this. And the black cat was kind of just sitting there looking, but the orange cat was like really going at it, and like and all hunched up. And it was like that for like an hour and a half they were out there. And it almost kind of made me think of the rivalry between the pirate and the king, or the light and dark aspects of yourself. Either way, but kind of like there's this face off going down between maybe different parts of yourself, right? Who you thought you were, or who you want to be, and who you're headed towards, but also like maybe another, like a rivalry between another person. And this is that Aries and Libra energy too, of kind of like head to head. I don't know, I've been picking that up too, but I just, when I saw that, I was like, okay. Like, just kind of that rivalry fighting energy, which is super interesting too. So yeah. And it could be also that you're fighting, like, I'm thinking the dark and light aspects of yourself too, though, right? Like you and your shadow going head to head of like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna reimagine our lives? I was in Barnes and Noble the other day and saw a book called God Shot, and I didn't really look at it, but God Shot, which kind of makes me think like this need to be in the light, even though there may be parts of your shadow that are calling you and asking you to incorporate it or use it even. I think I've felt that feeling before, of just like wanting to do right by the Most High, and like not wanting to do the wrong thing, which could even be just regular limitations that we've already set on ourselves, and we don't even realize that's what we're doing. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, that could be some of the pressure that I've been feeling on myself, of like trying to stay in this light energy, and then thinking that making certain choices would mean I'm not in my light energy. But it's a fine line at the same time, of kind of like, what is it? What does God want from you? And what do people who say that they know God or want to know God for you, right? Because that's the thing too. People will say like what God is and what God isn't. And that's their perspective and not your own perspective, you know? And it's like the Most High could be satisfied with you, and you're like, I'm not doing enough, or, oh, if I do this, like, you know what I mean? So I feel like maybe there's some rivalry with that too, of who are you and who do you want to be, and what is right, and what is just you pressuring yourself. What's right and what's you putting extra pressure. What is a perfect person? What is perfection, right? And what is wicked? What is knowing you can do better and just saying you're not gonna, and then literally not willing to stretch yourself for good reason, right? Like, it's, I don't know, I think it's more mutable than we act like it is. Yeah. And just that people are just arguing too. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, like I feel like that's energy of like people are like not, I don't know, people aren't really, it's a lot of head to head energy, and I feel like there'll be more to come with that. Okay. I'm thinking that that's gonna be it. I'm like, do I want to say more? How long is this gonna take to upload? I'm also picking up, I guess we just gotta give a little bit of the karmic, you know, the karmic negativity that I don't know, don't let certain energies make you feel guilty for moving towards what you want to move towards. Like, I don't know, I feel like people are using magic in ways to slow us down, to make us feel like we're not allowed to do certain things that otherwise we would be totally fine doing. Look, right at 222. Like, this idea, you know, just like using magic in all these different ways to make us feel as if we're misstepping or making the wrong choices, when really it's kind of like, I think I'm okay. Like, I think I'm gonna actually just let the Most High guide me, instead of like a random person that I don't know, that I know is tossing magic on me. Like, I think I'm gonna actually just I'm gonna just let my inner self and the Most High do the guiding for me. But then also, what else did I see? I just saw the karmic debt card, and then you are sacred. Karmic debt, you are sacred. Karmic debt, spirit weaver, you are sacred. The shift. Okay, wait, just a little bit. The shift. I'm seeing so many cards. I'm like, see the shift. The shift. Warrior woman in reverse. No transformation. Transforming with the raven in reverse. Okay, so this is our energy I was talking about also. Karmic debt. The mountain in reverse. Okay, so what I just picked up from that, it's like you might actually, with the shift, you might be feeling like you have to do all this because you have negative karma coming towards you, or that like you have to hurry up and pull some shit together before something, but actually like you have good karma racked up just at 544. And I was looking too. Sometimes I look and I'm like, okay, what I'm saying as I'm headed towards 544, but almost like you might be refusing to let go of this warrior woman energy. Like you are still feeling like you are having to fight, or I heard all my life I had to fight. And the color purple has really been coming up for me personally lately, so I know that this message is a little bit for me, but like this feeling of like you're thinking that you're gonna have to fight really, really hard, or you know, that you're still on that go, go, go warrior woman energy, but it's like you're not allowing yourself to transform into like a peaceful version of yourself, right? Rest to open, like ease, being able to find ease in your life, ease with what you want, ease, like ease, you know, things being easier. Look, the mountain in reverse, like thinking that everything is a mountain is always gonna be an uphill battle, always gonna wanna make it move. Like it's the climb energy. It's the climb. Like always thinking it's you're gonna have to like climb, but that mindset is not helpful for anyone's growth. Like imagine if you had to climb Mount Everest and then like you just had to continuously climb Mount Everest. Like it's like you couldn't take a break, you couldn't recalculate, you couldn't decide if maybe this is too much or not too much, and you're just like, it's the climb, and you just keep climbing and climbing. It's like and what if the Most High was like, no, we just wanted you to go like this much of the way, and then we were gonna take you down the hill, like we were gonna take you that way and like bring you to a cabin or something peaceful. It's kind of that energy of like being willing to, I guess, just like being willing to not fight. Like maybe you really don't have to fight as hard as you think you have to fight. Or you just came out of a period of fighting really, really hard, and because you were fighting so hard and you haven't quite like let that go yet, that it's causing you some struggle, some strife, right? Like you're still exhausted from the fight. I'm kind of picking that up too. Of like still exhausted from the fight, but like not giving up. And I feel like the Most High is giving you permission to rest. That like it's actually gonna be okay, and that you actually can rest. Yeah. And then on the back, I'm seeing sacrifice in reverse, and you are sacred. So, I don't know. It could just be that you're feeling like it's not a sacrifice. I don't know, like it's not a sacrifice to rest, actually. Even though it might feel like it. Yeah. Look, I'm like thinking about it myself because I'm trying to take my own advice, but um I don't know. Something to think about. Something to think about. That maybe your rest actually isn't a sacrifice, but what will open up new pathways for you. So consider it, think about it, consider it. And yeah, I'm gonna stop there. So I hope that gave you a little bit of insight, confirmed some things for you. And thank you for watching. Hit the thumbs up, the like, or subscribe if what I was talking about interested you or confirmed some things to you. And I'll see you in the next one. All right.